This video is about Quebec, the album. Ween is frequently seen primarily as a goofy kind of band, and it's not really hard to see why. The band's leads go by Dean Ween and Jean Ween. The official patron saint of Ween is the fictional demon god called the Dorkness, and their discography is peppered with song titles such as Baby Bitch and Hey Fat Boy Asshole. But I feel like even without Quebec, this would be selling their emotional range short. For example, their most listened to album, The Mollusk, hosting such songs as Waving My Dick in the Wind, as well as Ocean Man, aka the song that plays at the end of the SpongeBob movie, ends with the track She Wanted to Leave, a song presumably about a pirate who kidnaps a young girl, becomes convinced that she's in love with him, and then it's these more serious tracks that balance out Ween's goofier sense of humor, elevating them to something more unique and special. That pathos is what fuels Quebec, a name which arose out of wanting the atmosphere of a Parisian experience while knocking down the classiness a couple of pegs. The key to this album for me is the through line between the tracks Transdermal Celebration and Alkin Road. Transdermal Celebration depicts the effects of nuclear bombs on the world around us, with Alkin Road showing us the eerie aftermath. This was an album that was made when Jean Ween was going through a divorce and Dean Ween was dealing with drug addiction. With this in mind, it makes sense that this would be the narrative arc of the album, as the destruction that happens in Transdermal Celebration is sung joyously, while Alkin Road is much more sinister and ambient. The album kicks off with the song It's Gonna Be a Long Night, this aggressive nightmare party song that feels completely out of place with the more low-key, melancholic nature of the album. The first time I listened to Quebec, It's Gonna Be a Long Night went in one ear and went out the other, but over time I've come to appreciate it more. It's like we're starting at the crashing and burning of a previous story, and the rest of the album is the hazy aftermath. It's even crazier in the demo version of the song, where Ween's bassist Dave Drywitz sings the song just a few days before he had polyps removed from his throat.
Heard that you are doing down. Someone said you party down. Later I'll be coming around.
Then we bring it down with Zoloft, the song. This sets the sonic mood for the rest of the album with a sound that's very ethereal and muddled. The muddlage actually plays a very important role in this song, as warnings of not letting drugs take control of who you are sound like barely comprehensible whining, while the soothing lullaby of Zoloft making you happy is crystal clear. While this album reckons with their frontman's destructive past, there's still an air of wanting to burn everything to the ground. Tracks such as Hey There Fancy Pants and Chocolate Town present sardonic views of what it means to be a performer struggling to deal with addiction. Each overly cutesy line delivery in Fancy Pants feels like a stab in the chest, while the calming melody of Chocolate Town becomes unnerving once you realize what the song is actually about. The Argus sees our boys dipping their toes into a Greek mythology grind set, using the mythical Argus to draw attention to people who commit good deeds only to avoid divine retribution, a quest that's bound to end in failure because these hollow acts count for nothing. While this idea seems bleak, it ends with the protagonist of the song killing the Argus, stating that though love has its place in the sun, it's only man's fear that carries it on, which is a fire bar. Relating this to the themes of the album, I always put this more in line with the divorce, as a relationship that stays together due to fear instead of love is not a true healthy partnering. On another note, directly following these lines is possibly the most beautiful guitar solo that you will hear in music. Question: how good the music of Quebec sounds? The answer is very good. The Argus is not the only song with these dramatic instrumental moments. The previously mentioned Transdermal Celebration has this triumphant sounding guitar that will make you wonder, hey, where'd they get this guitar? Only to look it up and find out that they temporarily stole it from Carlos Santana. The closing track, If You Could Save Yourself You'd Save Us All, which I'll talk about more later, ends with this heartbreaking, emotional ballad. When the part of so many people in the neighborhood hits, I start moving my body in ways that have not been seen before by any living being. Happy Colored Marbles is a cursed sounding track. I know a lot of people say the song is referring to drugs, but I always took it more as an over-reliance on loved ones. Let's look at this chorus. Happy colored marbles that are rolling in my head. I put them back in the jacket of the one that I love. Carry that velvet sack full of pretty colored marbles, and I'll ask you for 'em back when I'm ready and done. son. Instead of completely losing his marbles, he entrusts all of them to his loved one while he goes through intense depressive periods. He recognizes that most people are not okay, but those people that are not okay are still able to at least put on a facade of relaxation, something which he feels envy over. There are drug references in this song, and the instrumentals at the end could very much be a bad trip, but I don't think the marbles themselves are one of those references. Further on the track of relationship issues, I Don't Want It is perhaps the most direct example on the album of a song pertaining to Gene Ween's divorce. The song tracks the happier moments of the relationship and why those moments are relegated to the past. I understand it, but I don't want it. And then there's the fucked jam. That's on the album too. If You Could Save Yourself, You'd Save Us All, the closer track, that is as magical as it is heartbreaking. Like I Don't Want It, is most definitely tied to the divorce. The jealousy of seeing happy couples while recognizing that happiness and peace need to come from yourself. I always come back to this line though. It is at this point of the video that I would like to remind you that these are the same guys who wrote the line, "On your knees, you big booty bitch, start sucking," a line that appears on the track Piss Up a Rope, a song from the album 12 Golden Country Greats, which of course only has 10 songs. It is not to disparage Piss Up a Rope or the many songs like it, because serious words aren't the only words that should be taken seriously. It's just to point out the incredible range both sonically and tonally that Ween is able to pull off, a level of mastery that few artists have ever displayed. While Ween is a very silly band, I hold the belief that they are one of the most artistically accomplished bands of all time, and Quebec is their masterpiece.
You said you need a little something to pick you up. Have you tried cocaine? Ah! No, I'm just teasing you. You don't want to do that. The glass is half full, Dina. Better things are always to come. There's miracles around you every day.